For me, that playground is, if you look inside businesses, any place where there are opportunities for conversion, product development, lead generation, closing of sales, employee satisfaction, customer satisfaction, any place where there's conversion opportunities with ample doses of credibility, the ability for you to increase those conversions become higher. Kind of simple when you think about it that way.
Absolutely.
So that's what I do. And I have a course I could talk to you about at some point in time. We'll do offline. I have a course people take as part of Credibility Nation. Credibility Nation is a community we have where like-minded individuals come who want to surround themselves with others. And at the moment, it's way too inexpensive. We're charging $10 a month.
Welcome to Clicks and Bricks Podcast. We talk about the entrepreneur mindset.
If you get one shot at this, what kind of shot are you going to take?
If we forget who we are, they're going to forget who you are.
You've got an adversity story that's out of this world.
Everything from that Main Street brick and mortar to that billion-dollar manufacturer.
Than each generation before it has had.
Yes. So I would love to go in on my thoughts on this funnel builders and stuff like that. And I was actually I was at Funnel Hackers Live last week for the week. And I'm in a very unique position because I'm an entrepreneur, but I also operate data centers. And I'm a huge fan of a couple phrases. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. And in every business, you have to defend your position. So I believe that these quick funnel builders are phenomenal tools to get you started. But once you start and you've vetted out the process to convert a cold lead into a sale using these tools, you have to go to WordPress or PHP or something like that so that you own your intellectual property. If you're doing it inside of those other platforms, that platform is who owns your code. They own it all. You cannot go outside of that platform. They can change the pricing. They can take it down. They can go, you know what? I don't like your widget anymore. I'm going to take your site down and I'm going to spin up my own widget site just like yours, right? So I think it's dangerous long-term to be 100% no-code solutions. I love it for minimal viable products, fast speed to market, but then you got to go back and recreate your intellectual property with code that you own as a business. You're going to build it, you got to defend it. They will take it away very quickly from you. Is my personal belief on that whole landslide.
I'm going to say that was a beautiful rant, and thanks for sharing.
Okay, thank you.
No comment, not for a positive or negative. I think this was somewhere around here have a mic. That was a mic drop moment, and thanks for sharing because I picked up a couple aha messages I will now ponder.
Yeah, I just think it's really scary for a business to be 100% dependent on another company, right? That's so scary. I mean, I live in a state where I only have one power company, right? Ameren UE is our only source of power, and I have to have giant batteries and giant generators to make sure because I can't trust one vendor, right? I've got my livelihood, my kids' livelihood, and all of my employees' livelihood and their family's livelihood at stake here. I can't do it. It's too dangerous, right? And what we're building is too important to risk it on because it was the easy approach and it's how we got started. But that is my rant, and I'll get off my soapbox. And so you started
it's a great rant.
Four publishing companies over your career. Were they all simultaneous? Were they complementary to each other? Or why four different publishing companies?
Different go-to-market strategies and different end product. Right. So I started the business with a brand called Happy About. What happened is I realized, what do I want to call my company? Why I want my authors to be happy about working with us. I want the employees to be happy about working with me. I'm like, oh, Happy About. Okay, that's my company, right? I want to be happy about running this business. And the good news, bad, at some point in time, there were some people who don't like the brand Happy About in terms of their publishing company.
Okay.
Right. So I changed it. I think that particular one I originally changed to Think Aha, because I'm always thinking about aha moments. So now I have the primary company is now called it transition from Happy About to Think Aha. One of the techniques we went to was a series called 42 Rules. 42 Rules, if you think about the construction of that, was 42 500-word articles. So 42 blog posts that are less than 500 words or less. Now you have a book. And so we ended up publishing, I don't know, 28, is a small $1 million business. And we published about 25-ish books, 25 to 30 books in that area. But it was very easy to put your arms around. Right. And then we did another one. And I published this under the Think Aha brand, but also created an online platform called Aha That. And Aha That was 140, actually it still exists, 140 Twitter-sized messages. So at the time, Twitter's character size was 140. So, hey, why not we create a book with 140? And now for those that want to see, this is the go-to-market strategy. So if somebody's an entrepreneur and they know they need a book for business, I'll tell you what we do. I like a book that's about 120 pages.
Okay.
Right? Because I like the spine size. We do books which are hardcover as well, right? So I love the spine size. What's fascinating is people don't really read books these days. And what is the book? The book is not about, just to be clear, your book is not about how many books you're going to sell. Now, let me define who I'm talking to. I'm talking to the nonfiction author who's using a book to drive more product sales or more service sales, either consulting or speaking. That's who I'm speaking to. So it's not about how many books you sell. You got to spend a whole lot of money to sell a lot of books.
Yes.
And so if that's not your business, what is the book? The book is the opportunity for you to put your asset into somebody's hands so they make a decision they want to spend more time with you. Now, that could be physically mailing your book to people. The authors who have been most successful have physically mailed copies of their book in a handwritten note to those prospects they want to work with. Right. It could be reading your own book, placing it on Audible, then sending a free Audible coupon to your prospects so they can listen to your book. Imagine if your book's 8 hours long and somebody started listening to your book and whether they listen to an hour or a half hour or 8 hours, you've spent 8 hours with your prospect and you've spent no time.
Yes.
Imagine multiplying that tens, hundreds of times. So what we do is we do the book on the outside. I do color on the inside. The books cost me $1 gazillion. It's not about profit on a book.
Right.
Because we process information auditorily, kinesthetically, visually. I have color pictures. We have a QR code that points to a video of the author talking about this section.
Okay.
Now, and by the way, very cool because now you got a series of 2 to 3 minute micro learning videos on this particular section. And then because we don't read books, the primary content is 140 aha messages.
Nice.
Right? So part of what we do, so Ken, imagine 6 months from today, we have co-created. Now, the reason I say co-created versus ghostwritten is because it's the vision of where you're going that you want your clients, prospects to come with you. So we've co-created that together. Right. We've co-created, published, made you an international best-selling author, and you've spent 10 hours or less. That's the business model. Right?
That's
so beautiful. You've got this asset now that you're using to open up more doors. That's the current where I sit today in terms of the publishing model. And to me, the fun part, you asked me if all my businesses, when I do executive coaching with somebody, it's to probably I'm going to say one of the clients, there are many different avatars, but I'll do the primary. C-suite executive, lots of accomplishments in their life, but hit the wall. They no longer have fulfillment.
Oh, yeah.
Great prospect for me because My superpower is helping them really articulate their purpose. Once you know your purpose, now the question is, well, can you achieve your purpose in the place you are today? Because once you change your mindset, everything shifts.
Right.
And if the answer is no, okay, let's help you get somewhere else. Most of the times it's you change the mindset shift and people go, oh, I really love what I do. Oh, I'm glad I get to see it in this new light. So same with the publishing side. For me, one of my absolute joys is once we know the title and the table of contents, I do a 3-hour interview to pull the genius from somebody's head. Because Ken, over those 6 months, I only need 10 hours of your time. 3 of them, well, 1 is on the title, table of contents. 3 is on this absolutely beautiful experience. In that experience, imagine, most people don't have this in life ever. Imagine this, having somebody who's reasonably smart, focusing on you and spending 3 hours talking about you and where you're going.
Right.
I so enjoy doing that because we'll co-create a future that fits really well based on who you've been. So that's credibility, as well as, doing the executive coaching. To me, you asked me about, I'm going to switch quickly to credibility, but you asked me about the publishing side. And to me, credibility is, there's so many different definitions. I'll give you the most simplest that came out of the research. It's the quality in which you are trusted, known, and liked.
Okay.
So I'll put it in a different way. It's your character and other people's perception of your character.
Oh boy. I was always told that other people's opinions of me is none of my business.
So it depends on, so the answer is yes and no. Yeah. It depends on what their opinions are.
Yeah. And if you're trying to sell them something or not.
Well, let's do it a different way. Let's talk about those people who will be employees of yours. Mm-hmm. Right? The people who are going to potentially work for your company, it's important for you to know that their perception of you is the perception you want to have. Right? Because in today's world, because of the camera and the microphone, the world is wide open in terms of competition. The choice that your average employee has in terms of where to work and who to work for is almost infinitesimal. And so if that's the case, what is the world you've put into place that people want to hang around you?
Right.
Right. And to me, the answer is if you're credible. Credible means that they trust you.
Right.
And trust. So there are 10 elements associated with credibility, but trust is not only the standard, that you're vulnerable, you have integrity, that you're authentic, but it's also that you're coachable. Like if you're the CEO of the company and knowing and saying, hey, I don't know as much as you on this topic, teach me, like that makes somebody feel good about you, right? That's trust. Right. Knowing you is, and this is important, this is what people don't think about. This is why some of these nameless, faceless companies will soon disappear to these much more open, because I don't necessarily do business with a nameless, faceless company. Or at least, in your case, you don't have a choice with a power company.
Right.
But if you had choices, you'd want to go with the power company where you actually knew the company and liked their values. Their values are in alignment with your values, right? So
correct.
What does that mean? Servant leadership is an important part of being known. Having the intent and commitment to do the right thing. And one of the things that came out of the interviews, Ken, this is crazy. I have 10 values associated with credibility. The only value that I listed twice was integrity. And what was interesting to me is I didn't actually know why. To about a year after I did a TED Talk. It was the 28th most popular in 2021. I published the book. A year afterwards is when I figured out why integrity was there twice. And the answer was under the pillar of being trusted. It's your external integrity. It's that portrait of what you place to the world. And the person who said you shouldn't care about other people's opinions is a person who really focuses on the trust being simply how you portray yourself to the world.
Right.
Under the pillar of being known, it's your internal integrity. Right? Do you cheat on your taxes? Do you cheat on your diet? Do you cheat on your spouse? Are you the type of person that I actually want to hang around? I may not want to go to dinner with you or go to your house for dinner, but are you somebody that I want as part of the company?
Right.
For those people who are employees, those people who are associates, technically those people who are customers, right? They really need to understand not just that they trust that you can do a good job for them, but they know who you are, that you've got the right intentions, the right approaches to life, and truly really meet it on the inside. Right?
Absolutely. It's huge. The integrity piece. I have a client that left me in 1998. And I talked to him 2 weeks ago, and we're doing a new proposal for him. And he's like, you were the small guy 20 years ago, and we left you for the bigger guy. And he's been through 8 different providers since then. And he's like, but you're still standing here, so I'm just coming back. Like, they're coming back. So that integrity piece is huge, right? And then just, holding true to who you are. We've been a small hosting provider in St. Louis for a very long time, right? And that's all we want to be. I don't want to be Amazon or any of those other guys, right? I don't like that kind of world.
That's the interesting part. Let me tell you the piece I just heard you say. The marketing cookie cutter approaches will always tell you that bigger is better, and that's your goal. You got to be bigger is better.
Yes.
And the answer is, this is who we are. This is who we like being. This is who we will continue to be.
Right.
And if you say that from your heart, your customer's like, oh. And by the way, here's where it gets really interesting. You talk to a client and you go, if you ever get big enough that we can't support you, we'll have a choice. Right? And your choice could be, we'll either help you move somewhere else, or maybe we'll co-invest together to build something bigger. But at the moment, we'll do that together.
Right.
To me, that's what credibility means.
And I think it's just being your authentic self and just being honest about what you want and what you're trying to accomplish. And not every customer is your customer. Right. And that's very, very important. And I think that's probably wildly true in book sales.
For me, it's not about, it's never about how many books you sell. Like when an author comes to me and they go, Mitchell, I want to be in libraries across the country. Okay.
So you just want to write a big check?
Tell me. Yeah, exactly. Tell me why. Oh, well, my potential prospect may come in at some point in time and get a library book. And what's your business again? Do you actually think the CEO of this multinational company is going to go into the library to check out your book? Oh,
right.
Do you know how much money it costs you to put books in libraries? Oh. So what I often say is, listen, if you want 3 books in your local library, take 3 copies of your book and bring it in and drop it off and say, hey, can you put this in inventory? And that normally quells, right? So it's let me tell you about the last piece, which is being likable, because this is kind of we've never had a game plan for how to be likable. It's probably what mom and grandma told you. It's very simple. They're two values. One is to share your stage. Now, you're doing this right now by having me join you. I call this spreading cred dust. So it's a word I came up with. And cred dust, if you want to look at creddust.com, 1D, CREDUST.com. Cred dust is that magic that happens when you share somebody else's ideas, thoughts, and actions. We're not taught to do that. We're taught to be the owner of all things. That was the command and control. The CEO knew everything.
Right.
But the leader, they know where to get the information. And so sharing other people's cred dust is really, I always end all my shows with, by the way, let's share our guest cred dust and write comments in the comments section, share with your friends who you think might find this valuable. So one is sharing other people, sharing your stage. And the second is showing respect. And showing respect is really simple because we now have this computer at our fingertips. Showing respect is coming early. So you care about somebody's time, coming prepared, right? You can Google somebody's name, know exactly what's happening in their life. And the most important thing, or maybe equally as important, is coming with your heart. Like, don't pretend to be somebody else.
Right.
And if you come as you and you show up as you and somebody doesn't like you, that's okay. They're not your customer or they're not your prospect.
Right. And I think you got to come with your whole self. Like, you can't be half in and half out, right? I've played that game. People can smell it from a mile away. Like, if you're just kind of half invested into something, it's just not, it doesn't play very well. So, Mitchell, before we jumped on this call, you said you had a special giveaway for the audience. What
I
what is
do.
this?
And how much time is left?
We've got plenty of time.
Well,
we're scheduled for another 7 minutes, but we can go over or cut a little short either way.
Well, I can give you the gift, and then what I want to do is talk about the primary thing that most people can't do, and that's articulate their purpose in less than the human attention span. So when I was doing this research, actually, I'll combine both. When I was doing this research, I interviewed 500 thought leaders on credibility. I did a TEDx called "We Are Losing Our Humanity, and I'm Tired of Watching It Happen." And what I feel is if we do nothing more than act credible, for you, this is normal stuff. How you speak is from the platform of a credible person, right? So that's normal to you. It's not normal to the world. 98% of the 500 thought leaders, I'll repeat that number, 98% of 500 thought leaders cannot articulate who they serve and how they serve them in less than 10 words.
98%. Oh, in less than 10 words.
In less than 10 words. Now,
okay.
If you give somebody 15 minutes or a half hour, maybe they can do it, but we don't have that attention span.
Right.
Right. And it turns out that's where I have my superpower. And although I have it as a superpower, it's also teachable.
Okay.
And the reason, if it's teachable, what I'm going to say is that means it's something we haven't been taught. It could be that we're even taught wrong. So I'm going to say one place where we have been taught wrong. The 30-second elevator pitch or the value proposition is not the first words that should come out of your mouth. We've been taught wrong because both of those have either the word I or we that starts the elevator pitch or the value proposition.
Okay.
Right? Somebody says, "Who are you? What do you do?" Well, they don't really care about you. It's not about you. It's what you can do
I
for
help.
them.
Right. I do this.
I help. I serve. We help. We do the following. And so the CPOP, which is the framework that I came up with, it stands for Customer Point of Possibilities. The CPOP is really two components. It's who you serve, and then either what pain point you address or what pleasure point you deliver.
Okay.
So for me, Ken, it's 6 words. Businesses increasing conversion with operational credibility. So businesses increasing conversion with operational credibility. The goal of delivering something in less than 4 seconds is a person on the other side to say, "Oh, that's interesting. Well, tell me more." What does operational credibility mean? Or what do you mean conversion? Great. I can answer those questions. Right. By the way, that may be where the elevator pitch or the value prop comes in. So I'm not telling you to throw away that stuff. What I'm telling you is to present a playground that you play in. For me, that playground is, if you look inside businesses, any place where there are opportunities for conversion, product development, lead generation, closing of sales, employee satisfaction, customer satisfaction, any place where there's conversion opportunities with ample doses of credibility, the ability for you to increase those conversions become higher. Kind of simple when you think about it that way.
Absolutely.
So that's what I do. And I have a course I could talk to you about at some point in time. We'll do offline. I have a course people take as part of Credibility Nation. Credibility Nation is a community we have where like-minded individuals come who want to surround themselves with others. And at the moment, it's way too inexpensive. We're charging $10 a month.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So it's $100 a year. And in there, I've got the course, which is the CPOP course. For those people who are listening, if you're credible and you have an LMS, I'm currently on a plan to give all the assets of the CPOP course and put them in other people's LMSs. Because I want people to articulate their CPOP. You also get a good, it's only an hour-long course. There's also a good set of dose. They're good doses of a common language of credibility that's built in.
Okay.
So as part of Credibility Nation, we do once a week, we send out a 2 to 3 minute micro-learning video. And so we've got like 55, 56 of those in place. And what I had my team do is pick the top 5 and put them into a PDF document. And so that's the gift. The gift is to sign up. It's aha.pub/microlearning-gift. That'll be put in the chat.
And we'll throw that in this description down below.
And you end up getting a PDF with the link to the 5 micro-learning videos. And, they're 2 to 3 minutes. And they're powerful lessons that we also share with our community.
So these are how-tos, simple tips and tricks that people can use and execute on in their business and in their life immediately.
Yeah.
Wonderful. I love it. I think
thank you for
those tips and tricks, I think, are so important. And you just never know what you get out of some new tactic or strategy that you implement into your life. And some of the stuff that I do seems so bizarre on the surface to help motivate me and get through my day. But it does really help. And leaning on other leaders that have been there and gone through some of the trials and tribulations that you haven't been through yet is a huge help, right? And I love the entrepreneur community because everybody I ever meet is so willing to help the next generation for free in a lot of cases, right? I mean, there's some stuff you got to pay, right? But most cases, you can get us to, give you advice, help you along at no charge in a lot of ways. So I absolutely love it. Thank you so much for that gift. And we'll make sure that we share it as much as possible for our listeners to get access to that. Mitchell, as a book publisher, publishing over 750 books, I had to ask you, what is your favorite book?
Now, is it the favorite book that I've actually published for somebody else, or my favorite book of all time?
Well, let's go. If you were to recommend a book to your employees, what book would that be?
Oh. I'm going to share 2. I'll share one of mine. And I'll share, that's really interesting. I'm going to do 2 of mine. And then, and we'll do I got 2 of them. I got 3 of them in front of me. All right. So a couple of books I'll recommend. Credibility Nation is a book that came out of the research, and it has, for the employees, it has the framework of everything we're living in today. So for the employees, my interest is that they really understand that there's a new way in which to operate. And so that's a must read for them, and to watch my TEDx. One of the books that I did with Dr. Terry Jackson is called Co-Creation Leadership. And it's about really working with strategic partners to co-create. And everything I do in business is co-creation. So I'm actually a big fan of that. One other book, I can give 2 other books. One of the books that I absolutely love, a guy by the name, and I don't have it in front of me, Jeffrey Cox, did a book called Selling the Wheel. And what he did is he articulated that there are 4 different types of salespeople. Now, whether or not you think there's 4 or 3 or 10 or whatever it is,
right.
Before I read the book, I thought there was one salesperson, one size fits all. And that helped me realize that there are different salespeople you need with different products at different points in time based on different audiences you're dealing with. So Selling the Wheel. And then this one for coaches, consultants, business people, by Marshall Goldsmith, The Earned Life.
Okay.
This was a really powerful book that I finished reading, and it's really good job of, particularly his chapter 14 is on credibility. So we are preeminent experts at helping deliver his credibility chapter. And within that one and many other areas of the book, there are just these notions of things to remember and think about that I like reading books that become common knowledge. Like you read it and go, oh yeah, that's good. Oh, let me adopt that. And then it's yours.
Yes, absolutely. One book that I don't make anybody read anything, but I highly recommend is Who Moved My Cheese for New Employees. Just so we all have, it's an easy book to read. We all have a common vernacular that we can talk about, and it puts us all on the same page for something really quickly in their employment, so we can talk about it and hopefully diagnose which mouse they might be. Right. So
I'm going to say for those who are running businesses, any of those books or the one that's relevant for you. But the point that Ken made, the point that I made earlier, is having a common language you could talk to people is really paramount to being successful of having a team versus command and control structure where you're cracking the whip.
Absolutely. Mitchell, thank you so much for your time today. I appreciate it. I've had a blast talking with you, and I've learned so much. And I hope the audience had a great time too.
Thanks. Right back at you. I don't think I'm going to go for the one size fits all funnel. So thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time today. I hope you have a great day.
Thanks. You as well. See ya.
Awesome. Thanks for watching today's episode of Clicks and Bricks. Get to work.